one thing to think about is your ability to lead isn't measured by how much you do, but it is measured by how much you empower other people to do. So I want to share some real life examples with you. One, and just very high level, one way that I did this is when I was allowing my students, when I was a college professor, I allowed them to teach multiple sections of the textbook. So I wasn't the one up there for 16 weeks, just constantly lecturing, things like that. Because one, if they were going to be future educators, they need to know how to do that anyway. But then they took ownership of their learning, and it allowed for a more cohesive environment for the class, a more collaborative experience, and it took a lot of pressure off of me. Of course, I studied and, did all the things, but I allow them to show up and become leaders of their own learning. That's something else that I've done, and this is, I'm just giving you examples of how leadership shows up and how you influence without titles or being in those positions. It's showing my grandmother how to really use her iPad instead of just like playing games. Like she looks up, statements, bills, things that she wants to learn about. I showed her how to do that so she's not constantly asking me how to do certain things, because on one hand it was like, oh, I'll just show you. And I was like, well, why do I want to do that? It's because I want to feel needed. But then I was like, no, I can show she still wants to learn. And then so that empowers her to, do things more and, not fear technology and things like that. Another thing, this is before I even came into entrepreneurship or anything like that, is when I was working in the K-12 space. I was over 17 mathematics teachers, and so within that department I created sub leaders in, the different content areas, and I would run the team that way. So I wasn't the one over just the 17. I also developed the team leaders, and each person was over like 3 or 4 other people. And then now looking back on that, I was like, oh, this I've always been called to do this, but I knew that I didn't have to be the person for the mathematics department.